Hello everybody and welcome to today's Friday stream. Something we haven't done previously, but something that I hope will attract some people, at least some of you. I can already see someone is in chat, so that's nice. Okay, know what? Let's go ahead and just start. Again, I have to switch between vertical stream and horizontal, so it'll take me a second to set everything up, but should be good. Okay, so just to recap a little bit, previously we stopped on a mission to Mon. We tried to go there, we tried to land there. Unfortunately, we couldn't because the rocket wasn't properly configured. It was pretty horrible launch. So tonight we will try to remedy that. And here's the thing, I was thinking for quite some time, because we do have a bit of science and maybe we can kind of try to spend that, get some more parts. But then I noticed this mission, and as you can see, this mission will give us quite a bit of money if we complete it. And the mission is extremely simple. We just have to test some orbital engine on an escape trajectory from Kerbin, which shouldn't be too hard. So for now, we'll try doing that and see how much money we get from that. And hopefully we'll be able to build a rocket from there without having to research, because I really want to stock up on science, at least somewhat. So for the base of our new rocket, we'll take the regular Sputnik. And then we'll just start building from there. I will have an experiment return unit, not because we need to return anything, but just because it makes the shape slightly more aerodynamic. And then I'm just gonna put this orbital maneuvering engine. I'm gonna flip it upside down so that we won't have drag. The problem is that this is like the only 2.5 meter part we have so far. So we'll have to make do with that. And then we obviously need some electricity. But I don't really want to buy batteries because we're really low in funds right now. We definitely do want communication, so I'll just plant a couple of these short-range antennas here. And this should be good enough. They have a range of 500 kilometers. Because they're doubled, it should be like 900, something like that. And as we can see, the electricity will last us only 11 minutes, but you know, we just have to test one part as soon as we get to an escape trajectory. And because I want to conserve money, we're just gonna make this the cheapest rocket ever. So for our upper stage, we'll have just a single booster here. And because again, this is a very cheap rocket, we'll just pile in a bunch of basic fins. Why? Because they're really, really cheap, and I mean, if you put a lot of them, they will give you just about enough stability, so that'll almost make sense. And then the base of our rocket is gonna be pretty much the same thing, just slightly bigger, just slightly more boosters here. I will add a few aerodynamic nose cones just in case. But in general, it's just gonna be a very simple rocket with just several of these boosters here. Not even gonna stage them anyhow, just plant them there. And a few more basic fins for that, you know, extra stability that we want. Because funnily enough, they do kind of provide, 3 of them provide pretty much the same stability as one proper winglet. So I guess that will work for me. And yeah, that is pretty much it. That is like the most complicated design so far. Let's name it somehow. 15. I'm gonna name it New Horizons. Because, well, it is going out of Kerbin's sphere of influence. So there's that. Yeah, let's go ahead, launch it. See how far we can sling it. Hopefully it'll have enough stability to just kind of guide itself so that I don't have to control it. I'll just press one button. I will enable soft controls. That is done via caps lock. it'll just make it a little bit easier to control in case it does start to roll. As you can see, it's already not at 100%, but yeah, it is what it is. All right, let's try launching it, and off she goes. Rather simple launch. Again, the goal is not really to achieve much other than just to technically satisfy the requirements of the contract. Really easy. However, I will not time warp because we already had our fair share of time warp issues on this channel, and I really am not in the mood for another one of those. So we'll just fly straight up. We might get a little bit of course, but I don't really care that much. As long as it's like within reason and it's good enough for me. As you can see, some of our basic fins are burning up. That is to be expected, but you know, we have a lot of them, so we can just kind of shed a few. And that is pretty much it. I don't think there will be any problems going forward with this. We just have to wait till this stage burns. I mean, the thrust to weight ratio on this spacecraft is absolutely incredible. Look at that, we're holding at 5 Gs, which is really, really good. I think it'll go to 10. With the rate that it's climbing, I think it'll go to like 10 Gs. And basically, as soon as we see that it technically is on an escape trajectory, we can just fire the next stage and be done with this mission. And it is. Okay, great. So we just popped that, and that is kind of it. Let's go to Space Center. I will delete this spacecraft just because we don't need it. And it's just something that we have to kind of get rid of. So let's go kill it in tracking station. Alright, we do not need this one. Good, great. It has completed its mission, which is good enough by me. The important part is that it gave us a bunch of money. Now, I'll also get a little bit more from taking this contract, and now we'll try to make a proper moon landing. So here's the thing. We can add a bit more science. We do have some science, and we can research some stuff here. I'm not really sure. We could, for example, research the EVA experiments kit. The problem is that we don't yet have an astronaut complex upgrade. And what we can do, we can go fly to Mon, land there. We'll get some money from the contracts already because we have landed there. And then we can upgrade the astronaut complex, but I'm not really in the mood for that because it'll kind of lock us out of a few more contracts that we can potentially do later. So for these reasons, not really gonna research anything for now. We'll just stock on some science, and I don't know, maybe we'll use some of it later, but for now I just wanna keep more of it. And now let's go modify our rocket. Is going to be pretty much similar to what Mon 1 was, with just a few modifications just to make it a little bit not as bad as the previous one. So first of all, our antenna here broke as soon as we started flying up, and that's because it is not a foldable antenna and it breaks under high dynamic pressure, so we'll just get rid of it. We don't really need an antenna for now. As for the rest of our mission, because we have already been in high orbit and low orbit of Mon, which the entire Mon 1 mission was about, I'm not going to have two of these experiment modules. We can just take only one of them. And other than that, the design will be pretty similar. It's just basically the same thing with minor mistakes accounted for. What I will do, however, is I'll add a few more boosters because our lower stage here is really not that powerful. I just want to add a few more boosters just to kind of give us some oomph, especially in the beginning, because we really lacked that previously, and that was what eventually ruined the whole mission, because we had to use our upper stage here, which is designed for Mon transfer and then landing there, we had to also use it to circularize in orbit, and not just circularize, no, we had to like burn through half of it, which left us with too little fuel to attempt a landing, so we had to slightly abort the mission there. But right now, I think we'll be good enough. I will auto-strut these just in case, and with that out of the way, I think, yeah, Mon 2 is ready to go. Let's go launch it towards Mon, and hopefully get our nice signs. And from that point, as soon as you make your first Mon landing, things start to pile up real quick, because missions do get much more interesting because you unlock a lot more. You can start building space stations, you can start making more exciting missions to Mon, maybe to Minmus. So let's go launch this beast. The takeoff should be relatively easy. I will be taking a rather low ascent profile because the shape is sort of aerodynamic, but most importantly because I want to have the launch as efficient as possible. Hopefully we will be able to make it efficient enough so that we'll probably have to use our upper stage a little bit for circularization. My goal is not like have the lower stages bring us to perfect orbit. It's more of a get us to good enough orbit. Not really just a perfect orbit, more of a just suborbital trajectory, but suborbital in a way that is like almost till orbit. And right now I'm just gonna keep burning. I do love the effects on the engine here. We launched it previously and it was stellar at that time. It's still stellar. I will reduce the engine thrust here a little bit because we are rising a little too quickly, and the problem is that we don't really have that good of a thrust to weight ratio, and probably I should start banking down so that we can accelerate more horizontally, because the air here is already thin enough so that we can just start worrying more about our horizontal velocity rather than vertical. But we still have to be careful not to go either too high or too low, because our thrust to weight ratio, especially on the upper stage, is only 1, which is not bad. No, it's pretty decent. It's just that it's not that much. It's not like 3, when you can just circularize pretty much in any state and just never worry. You do have to think a little bit about circularization, just a little in advance. But for now, this should be good enough. The rocket starts wobbling for no apparent reason. I don't know why. I do have a few mods that could potentially result in some wobbliness, but like shouldn't be that bad, to be honest. And look at that, we have some bug. Oh my god, please tell me that we can resolve this. I think it kind of clipped through. Damn it! Why did it do this? Look at that. We have our decoupler here that just got stuck in meshes. Damn it! Funnily enough, I did make this mission before the launch, before the stream, I mean. Just to make sure that everything would work, because we already had our fair share of problems. But yeah, I'm trying to rotate, it doesn't work. No, it's just completely stuck. I think it might be due to autostruts. Do we have any going through? Visualize autostruts. Oh, well, we do have one that's still going through. But it's going, like, towards the decoupler. It's not really going to the rest. I don't know. This might be just a bug. Yeah, I think this fuel tank is stuck between these other ones. Damn it. You know what? Let's revert. I'm usually against reverting back because it's just kind of cheating a little bit. But, you know, it's okay if the game really starts ruining everything. You know what? Because we don't have, like, this... Oh, I know what happened. Look, they're clipped because I have removed the second Science Junior, and that's why they're clipped. Okay, you know what? Let's just put these slightly higher so that they're in the clear. And, yeah, that is what screwed us up. Whatever. We'll just have to roll with it. Let's pretend that never happened. It's not like this stream is recorded or something. Definitely not gonna be on a recording. Nobody's recording at home, right? Whoa, 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 whoa. What happened? Oh, look at that! Okay, well, that is a bit of a problem. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what happened here, is unfortunately our vehicle got destroyed because one of the engines... Yeah. Okay, so what happened right now is... Okay, camera's having a bit of seizure. So what happened is one of the boosters failed, and because it resulted in asymmetric thrust, it rotated the whole vehicle apart, upside down. I knew that could happen. I was just kind of not worrying about it too much, because it usually doesn't happen. So here's the thing. I will revert it back again, because A, this mission is obviously doomed to fail, apparently. I will put high engine quality on these, just to make sure that it's not gonna happen the second time. The problem that I have is, like, normally you would have launch stability enhancers. You know what, let's put them here. So the way you avoid this, pretty much entirely, is you have these launch enhancers, and what you do is you first start your engines, and only once the engines are running and you are completely sure that nothing has failed, only then do you release the clamps. So let's go ahead and do that, because I'm pretty sure no one wants to see Jebediah out of business because of that incident. Because I mean, we don't even have, like, action groups for now, or do we? Oh, look at that! We do have action groups. You know what? Let's add them. I mean, so our action group will be that we want to decouple this stage and we want to deploy chutes, and that should hopefully save our astronauts in case something goes wrong. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really prepared myself. I was just kind of hoping to get through this part a little quicker than usual, because I'm pretty annoyed that we're still, to this very day, we're stuck with these kind of boring-ish missions. So I was just hoping that we might have a bit more fun with, like, more advanced MUN missions. But, you know, apparently it has to go wrong twice. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so first of all, let's start the engines. Everything's fine, then we release the clamps, and this should prevent any and all disastrous events. Okay, again, let's start banking even harder this time, because I really want to have that low ascent profile. We didn't really have that one in the previous launch. Thing is, we have a very good thrust to weight ratio. It's like 3 something, so we can really afford ourselves to go rather low. And because our shape is pretty much aerodynamic by Kerbal standards, of course, it should be fine. I'm gonna detach boosters here. They explode in the background. The game is obviously lagging for no reason at all. And we are on our way to orbit. Okay, I'm really hoping that this mission will go fine from now on. Otherwise, I'm just gonna scratch the entire stream and pretend this never happened, because this is annoying as hell. It's like, no one's gonna notice. I mean, how would they know the stream was there? Okay, you know what? Let's start again going more horizontal. We really need that. Okay, looks good enough. You know what? I think we can even time warp a little bit. We'll wobble somewhat, but doesn't look too bad. Okay. You know what? Let's cut throttle here. Warp till we get out of atmosphere, and then we'll start again. Here we will circle. I accidentally cut the stage, but it's fine. We do have quite significant delta V. Damn it. I really like that in cockpits you have this like really cool button where you can... Oh, that was the wrong button. Prefer to launch. I was trying to show that there is this button where you can lock the staging. Unfortunately, I pressed the stage button because I just saw there that it looked like lock staging and I pressed it, but it was not that. Damn it, can you please get one successful launch here? Absolutely diabolical, this stream. But you know, that's what happens when you start rolling the camera. That is what usually happens. Oh my god. Okay, I just really want to get through these boring missions, get more exciting stuff like Duna missions. That's gonna be a lot of fun. These early missions are really, really tiresome. They're really boring. And because you don't really have a lot of action groups, it's really hard to make consistent launches, especially without MechJab, because I'm really reliant on it. When I learned to make completely automated launches, I kind of forgot how to fly the rockets myself. I'm kind of trying to learn that skill back again. Because normally you just press one button and the rocket is in space. It usually goes like that. You can do a little bit of adjusting here and there. Sometimes you need to adjust the launch profiles, but in general it's really easy. And I want to teach you how to do that because it just makes launching rockets so much more easier. Okay, I think we took a bit of a lower ascent profile this time, maybe a little too low. Okay. But I think it's gonna be fine. Okay, let's stage it. Does anybody know, is there like a way to lock staging completely? Like from within the game itself? Just so that I won't press the spacebar again. It's really annoying. I know that if you change them, it'll kind of reset it. And one press will not acquire, but that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a way to just completely lock staging. Okay, I kind of missed the moments when we started going to orbit a little bit. I mean, our apoapsis is really, really high right now. So let's just skip right there towards it. And let's circularize here. Should be pretty easy, especially with just how high our apoapsis is right now. really hoping that these engines won't fail, because like that'll drive me absolutely mad. Like, I'll actually just scratch the stream from there. I'm trying right now to make this kind of work, but nah, if that happens, I'm gonna go absolutely insane. So we did get to orbit, which is great. Now let's just wait till our Mon transfer position. Yeah, just about here. Yeah, that looks good enough. Okay, and now let's try to burn for Mon. Mon or bust. If you know, you know. Alright, let's start the engines again. And off we go. I'm gonna time warp here a little bit, just to make this reasonable. Alright, let's just add a little bit more. Yeah, that looks good enough. Okay, now we just wait till the transfer completes. Gotta be careful with the time warp here, because I don't really know when I have to stop it. So just have to be a little careful here. Please tell me that we will get an intercept. Okay, great. We got into an orbit. This is a bit of a way too high orbit for my liking, so I'll have to reduce it a little bit here. Okay. Not the most efficient one. Definitely not the most efficient, but we still have a lot of delta V. Should be fine. Okay, now what I want is to bring my periapsis rather as low as possible, just above the surface, like to about like 10,000 meters, and that should be, yep, good enough. 10,000 meters, pretty much exactly. Now we just go ahead, time warp towards Mon here. Gotta be careful with acceleration. Time warp is scary. Okay, and now we'll do another short burn just to go into low orbit, and I time warp through it, which is a little annoying. Excuse me, what? What just happened? You know what? Screw this. This is like the third time something went wrong. I'm just really annoyed right now. I'm sorry. I honestly don't care. I'm gonna set a high Mon orbit because I time warped through it. I will use the fuel to reduce my orbit here, but this is just one of those missions that I kind of want to burn through, and this is taking way too much time with all of the setbacks that we had. So I just really want to kind of burn through it. You know what? We can actually try to go for like a more aggressive landing. We can bring our periapsis below the ground and then just kind of burn right near the surface. It's a bit scary to do that, but hopefully we'll be able to. Okay, Jebediah is losing his mind because this mission took a lot longer than it was supposed to because of the time warp error. Should be good. Should be fine. The rest of the mission is pretty simple. Okay. As you can see, our impact is displayed down low. It's not really readable because it's like really small text, but I can see it, and it says like impact in 40 something seconds. And it also says the burn time. So as soon as the impact matches the burn time, I'll start the engines, maybe a little later, right about here. And what this should do is give me a way to decelerate rather efficiently. Okay. Like that. Get the landing legs. And hopefully we will decelerate pretty much near the surface. Right next to it. Gonna have to reduce thrust here a little bit. Unfortunately, not the most efficient landing, but it is good enough. Okay. Let's reduce our velocity even more here. And now we'll just kind of burn lightly here. Just maintain our velocity at about like 10 meters per second. Just have a nice smooth landing here. I don't really like the terrain here. There are quite a few hills, but should be good enough. Okay, and we have touchdown. Okay, great. You know what? Let's save game here in case something goes wrong. And damn it, we have landed on Mun. Through all problems, we have done that. So let's start our scientific research. Make sure everything is running nicely. All the experiments are going. And now we just have to wait till the experiments finish. It'll take some time, so I'm just gonna time warp through it. And once all of our experiments are complete, we can stop the time warp. Hopefully it's not gonna rotate over. Now we just have to put all of the data, all of the samples into the experiment return unit, place everything that we have collected there, and now we can just detach this lower stage. We will leave it on the surface of Mun, and now we can just go back to orbit. Just like that. Nice and easy. Okay. Gonna jump here. Gonna time warp a little bit. And then once we're going horizontally, we'll make our burn into orbit. And one of the engines malfunctioned. God damn it. This is like the second malfunction. Fortunately, we do have this engine here, and our stage is rated for a return in this case. Oh my god, thank you very much for that comment. It really means a lot to me. Yeah, well, I'm trying here. Although this particular stream is an absolute piece of garbage. It really went so wrong here, like 10 times in a row. But I'm glad you're enjoying this. I'm really trying hard here. Alright, so let's get ourselves into orbit. Thanks to that comment, I do think that this stream could get back into reasonable space. Alright. We just need to get to orbit, then back to Kerbin. We'll have a lot of science, and then we can just start spending it on all the cool toys. Okay, camera is having a seizure once more. We are in orbit. Actually, you know what? We're not really in orbit. not quite. Gonna make another short burn here. Okay. We'll have to time warp here a little bit. Okay. It's looking good. We haven't collided with anything. And now we'll just make our escape burn. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna line it up just about here. And the goal is to kind of eyeball it so that when I will start burning, I will escape Mon going exactly perpendicular towards Kerbin, and that should bring me on a perfect trajectory back to the surface. In a perfect world. Unfortunately, we do not have maneuver nodes, so I'll have to just kind of eyeball it. But it can be done. It's definitely possible. And we just wait till this line gets kind of perpendicular. Yep, looks good enough. And that is kind of it. Now just time warp till we get into orbit. Oh, look at that. Our hydrogen is running low. Damn it. Again, we had a bit of a nuance with time warping there. Oh my god, this mission, like, had so many issues. Okay, as you can see, we got to a pretty high elliptical orbit. I'm just gonna make another small burn. Just to bring our periapsis below 70 kilometers, preferably, like, towards, like, 40-ish. Maybe even lower than that, like 30. Okay, 36 looks almost good enough. You know what, let's make another small burn here. Just to bring it to about 30-ish. And with that out of the way, you know what, let's save the game here because I will be time warping and there's a decent chance I'm gonna screw that up. Okay, our food reserves have been depleted because, again, this mission took longer than it was supposed to. There is no more hydrogen, so we are out of electricity right now. Well, almost. We're losing electricity hard right now. But hopefully we're going fast enough that we'll get towards Kerbin before our electricity completely runs out. And we won't really need it once we get into orbit. All we need to do is just decelerate. Should be not that hard, especially since we're already in a descent orbit. Okay, you know what? Let's start the engine from here. You know what? Let's detach the stages here. We'll have the engine still kind of burning. Technically, it's not attached to us, but good enough. And as you can see, we are really low on pretty much all of the resources. What I can do is I can start the monoprop fuel cell. Or can I? Maybe I can't. Sorry. I don't know why it's not allowing me to start the monoprop fuel cell. I mean, we do have oxygen, we do have monopropellant, which just doesn't really allow me to do that, but whatever. I mean, we have some electricity, but we really don't need any of it, pretty much. We're good to go. Okay, let's time warp here a little bit. Just decelerate. Gonna have to be careful with the time warp when we release the parachutes, because they really like blowing up. You know what, let's save the game here one more time, because I really want to get through with this mission. It's more exciting stuff. I know you guys really want to see more exciting missions. That really should... Oh, we ran out of electricity. Not like we need it. Hopefully Jebediah can walk a few thousand kilometers home. It's not going to be a problem. Camera is having a seizure one more time. parachutes are deploying, and yeah, that is pretty much it. We'll just glide the rest of the way down into ocean. Hopefully not sinking in the process, because we do have a bunch of heavy samples, like 40 kilograms of samples from one. Hopefully we'll be fine. Yeah, the mod is called Kerbalism. That's the one. There should be, in the description, you can view all of the mods that I have for this setup. And as you can see, we almost sunk, but not quite. Not quite. Okay, let's recover. Finally, we're done with this mission. We have officially plowed through this. We can start to more exciting stuff. Whew. Really, really excited, because we had some weird bug with collision textures at first, then we had an engine ignition failure pretty much during launch, then we had another one where I screwed up with the staging toggle, and then we had another problem when I time warped too hard, and then our engine failed near Mon, so like pretty much everything that could go wrong, it all went wrong. Luckily, though, we did plow through this mission, and we can start more exciting stuff. Okay, so our next thing is to rendezvous 2 vessels in orbit of Kerbin, and this obviously will lead us towards more space station-y stuff. This is definitely one of the steps that we need to do before we start building space stations. And I know that there will be instantly after that a contract to dock 2 vehicles. So you know what? Let's research the docking port here. But in order to dock stuff in orbit, we also need to research the thruster blocks. So let's go ahead and do that, and also advanced flight controls. Okay, and now we can start building our very first space station. We can actually launch the station core right now, and then dock stuff to it. Unfortunately, we don't really have a contract to do that. That's sad. Okay, here's the question. Do we have enough money to upgrade the tracking station? Yes, we do. Because I really want patch conics, and I really want to start building our first space station. So, in order to build it, we do need to launch the station core, but the problem with launching the station core is that I really want to do that when we have a contract for that, and we don't right now. So, don't know what to really launch here. I want to... We could try to make a simple launch where we just try to go and basically bring 2 vessels together and then dock them and nothing else. I was kind of hoping maybe we could do a little bit more than that. Maybe we can do this contract about bringing 1 tourist to low Kerbin orbit. That's definitely something we can do. Yeah, you know what? Let's go try doing that. So now I'll just make a simple vehicle that will allow us to test docking. I'm gonna call it Space Bus, because it is going to be a vehicle that we'll use a lot to get astronauts to orbit and back from it, because we're gonna have a bunch of tourists now, more tourist missions. So we'll have this command pod as the base for it. We'll have our docking port, obviously. Damn it, these are expensive parts. They're not expensive by themselves, they're expensive to kind of buy. Okay, so we do have a connection port here, which is definitely nice, definitely welcome. Let's build the rest. And now for our lower stage, we do need a decoupler here. Again, we don't really need a heat shield. We can put one in. The problem is that they're kind of expensive, and also we don't really have a full heat shield, so we'll just kind of ignore that for now. Actually, you know what? We can put this one here just to cover the docking port. At least let's do that. And just place it like that. Good enough. Put this one here, and that looks terrible. But yeah, this is. You know what? No, let's remove that. This is fine. I mean, the crew capsule is insulated and everything. Okay, so we definitely need parachutes, and for our orbital maneuvering, we want to have at least some monoprop fuel tanks, although the capsule does have... Oh no, this capsule does not have monoprop fuel, so we definitely do want to add these small fuel tanks here. Let's just put 2 of these somewhere here, and I'm gonna do this funny thing where I'm gonna clip them a little bit inside, and then I'm also gonna put 4 thruster blocks. Let's say the big fat ones, these ones, and I'll put them in a 5 configuration, just like that, and I'll just kind of clip them through a little bit. Just like that. Let me just make sure that they're properly rotated. Okay, like that. And we'll just kind of clip them through a little bit like this. So we'll have these kind of both thruster and monoprop blocks, which should give us all the controls we want. Up, down, left, right, center. Which is very nice. And with that out of the way, let's build the rest of our spacecraft. Now we do want some sort of engine for our orbital maneuvering. And you know what? Since we do have these tanks, we can just put a bunch of them, and we can put 2 of these Thud liquid fuel engines here. And that's gonna be our upper stage. Very simple. Very easy, very nice. Actually, you know what? Since we do have these engines, we could actually go for a slightly more complex design. You know what? We can put them like this, and with maybe some extra parachutes, we can land this entire thing. Because, I mean, the engines are not very expensive. They're only like 820, but they're still cost something. So why not try bringing them back? Let's put fuel tanks just about here. Yeah, that looks good enough. And we'll just add a few of these thruster blocks around our craft. Actually, let's check our center of mass and just try to align them to our center of mass. Okay, can I set the marker for average center of mass and line them up just perfectly within the average center of mass so that we won't have any rotation when we're starting them. Alright, good enough. The problem is that our weight distribution will change once we get to orbit, obviously. But it's not gonna be too bad, so we'll just be able to correct for that a little bit. And that's the upper stage. Now let's build the lower stage. Which will be more of these fuel tanks. Unfortunately, we don't have big fuel tanks for now, so we have to put a bunch of these. A lot of them. Actually, they are kind of expensive. I mean, this lower part entirely costs like several thousand. Maybe we should use... I really don't want to use solid rocket boosters because they're kind of annoying. You know what? We can use more Thud engines. We can have a rocket like this. Yeah, that looks really cool. Actually, you know what? We can put 2 of these, and this won't have a very good thrust-to-weight ratio. But what this will have Actually, we can just have less fuel tanks in general. And just kind of add a few more to the mix with boosters. Yeah, we can go ahead and just add a couple of boosters here just to jumpstart us towards space. Just like that. Gotta add 2 of these boosters. And this will bring the total delta V to about 4,000. That's suboptimal a little bit. Yeah, you know what? Let's add a few more fuel tanks. A few more of these bad boys. Okay, this has 4,300, which is definitely, again, this is more than we need. But I just want to be a little bit extra safe because we can just kind of allow ourselves to have slightly more. And then if we're not going to use some of it, we can still use it to refuel the space station. Or we can just use it to maneuver in orbit more. So we will definitely find a use for more fuel. Alright, and with that out of the way, yeah, because I now have PTSD about engines failing, let's add stability enhancers that we will use to make sure our stage won't blow up. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking maybe we can go for like a completely single stage design, sort of, by just adding... Just kind of removing this second stage here and just kind of adding more boosters. That will make it harder to maneuver in orbit, but it'll make it very cost effective, which is definitely nice. Look at that. We can do it like this and maybe just add a few more engines there. But this will make it very cost effective, especially since all of this will return back to Kerbin. Yeah, that actually looks like a good design choice. And our center of mass will be reasonably well aligned. You know what? This is actually looking really, really cool. I really like this design. Okay, let's add a few more of these. Here and here. Now we just have to kind of align them a little bit. Okay, just make sure that they're aligned. Just like that. Okay, good enough. And now just add a bunch more boosters here on all sides. And yeah, that's the rocket. Very, very simple, very efficient in terms of cost effectiveness. Because we do need a cost-effective way to get into orbit. Just to get our astronauts back, just to get our maybe tourist missions. We definitely do want to start doing those because they provide a lot of money. And we can't really do that for now, but with this new space bus, which is very, very efficient, we should be able to do that. Hopefully, at least. Alright, let's just make sure that we have everything set up. Okay, so we'll start all of the engines, both the boosters and our 2 main engines, which will give us a very good thrust-to-weight ratio. Then we'll burn through them, and then the rest will have not a very high thrust-to-weight ratio, but still very decent, like higher than 1. And then the rest will allow us to maneuver in orbit. I just want to make sure that we're not going to crash in landing. I guess the best way to make sure of that is to add more landing legs? Question mark? Yeah, we don't really have big landing legs for now. We'll just have to add these small ones here. Okay, we'll add these small ones here. We'll start them retracted. And we'll add the boosters on top of them, kind of. I don't quite like that they're kind of clipping. Let me see if I can just move the boosters slightly away. Just a little bit, so that they don't clip as hard. At the same time, I don't really want to remove these. Yeah, you know what? The problem I have with this design is that there's a decent chance that it's just gonna land, and if it, God forbid, lands on a hill, it's just gonna top down and explode. We definitely need more parachutes for this. That is, like, for sure. We can retro burn, because again, we do have some extra fuel, and we should be able to do that, but I still want to add more parachutes into the mix just to make completely sure that this craft won't explode on landing. Okay, great. Great stuff. This is looking reasonably alright. Okay, corrected the staging here, and now just need to add a few more stabilizers. Although we have to be kind of careful with stabilizers, because there's a decent chance we don't want to add stabilizers to the last stage, because it's just gonna roll over when we'll try to land it. So I'll just add for these stabilizers on the boosters, and our main stage is not gonna be guided. We will have the engines for that. They do have thrust vectoring. Okay, now we just need to figure it out with electricity. We don't have, unfortunately, solar panels yet, so we'll have to power it with just more hydrogen fuel cells. But that's fine, we can do that. Let's add an oxygen tank and a hydrogen tank. Okay, this will be a hydrogen tank and 2 oxygen tanks. And this should provide us with plentiful electricity. Look at that. Our hydrogen... Why does it say that our hydrogen will last forever? I don't like that. Okay, so our oxygen is fine. Our hydrogen... Why does it say that it'll last forever? I don't like that. It should be used up by the fuel cell. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with the planner here. It's not showing that the fuel cell will be using the electricity. Does anybody see what the problem is? Because I really can't understand what is wrong. Why does it, like, not showing me? Why is it not showing hydrogen usage? Because it is used by the fuel cell. I mean, it should. That is really weird. Really, really weird. Oh, because we do have these things, right? Okay. If we remove these, then it'll show us. Okay, great. Because we already have, like, electric capacity with them. So our hydrogen will last us 7 days. Oxygen, 8 days. Water, perpetual, food, reasonable. Also, let's add a few hydrogen nitrogen tanks, rather. The reason for these is going to be because our crew pod is pressurized. I want to have these nitrogen tanks. I'll just color them in brown. That'll just allow us to repressurize in case someone goes EVA. And definitely someone will go EVA at some point. That's nice to have. Okay, now let's add these back here. And yeah, this should be pretty good. Unfortunately, we don't have an antenna here. I'm thinking about adding some. But at the same time, we don't really have solar panels, so... Do we need an antenna? Because it does use quite a bit of electricity, even when it's just offline. So let's not bother too much about that. Our total delta V is 4,200 meters, well, 43. almost. That looks good enough. Especially because the shape is pretty aerodynamic. So let's launch into orbit. Our first flight will be Jebediah and the Tourist that we have to launch into orbit. And this will allow us to kind of test the vehicle. And the second launch will be with Valentina, and we'll kind of try to get them close in orbit to complete the contract. Alright. Funnily enough, our Delta V increased because Bill here carries some equipment, and Chrisley is a lighter load. Tourists are lighter. Damn, didn't know that. This game is pretty modeled through. Okay, actually, you know what? Because this cockpit is pretty advanced, we can actually add some cameras to it. You know what? Let's add a docking camera here. Although I will put it on this side. And now I just want to align it with the docking ports and clip it slightly into it. Like that. Yeah, that's looking pretty sick. Although I do think I clipped it a little too hard. Yeah, let's do it like that. That looks good enough. All right. Let's go for it. I think we're done here. We'll definitely make a Mark II once we get more parts, because I definitely want to use solar panels. But for the time being, the space bus will be a reasonable way to get stuff into orbit, especially Kerbals. So let's go launch it. And it is pretty expensive at 23,000, but we should be able to return most of it back down. So it should be pretty good. Okay, let's go for launch. Hopefully this launch will be nice, smooth, and quiet, because we had our fair share of bad luck today. Okay, launch the engines, everything's running. Stage the clamps, and off we go into orbit. It is ascending really, really hard, because, again, the shape is pretty aerodynamic, and most importantly, the thrust-to-weight ratio is absolutely crazy. Actually, you know what? I'll reduce the thrust on these engines. Just coast for now with the boosters, mostly. We'll just accelerate like this. Okay, the boosters are done. Increase to max thrust. Stage the boosters. They explode behind us. Luckily, not clipping us, which is definitely a good thing. And off we go to orbit. Actually, I'm not really sure that the shape is aerodynamic, because, I mean, we do have a docking port here, and it's, like, not a very aerodynamic thing. But at the same time, it doesn't look like it's too bad. So, because we only need to get to low curb in orbit, I think it's gonna be fine. At least we'll test that. As for our tourists here, our mission is to just get into orbit, and that's it. I think we don't need to do much. Maybe wait a little bit while in orbit. Yeah, we just have to wait there for 1 hour. So, in case we screw this up, we can just complete the contract with the tourist and it'll be fine. But the goal of the bus is to complete contract with tourists as well as perform other missions. So it's like 2 things at the same time, kind of. That's the goal, at least. Okay, we are burning pretty hard towards orbit. Want to get there as fast as possible. Really low ascent profile this time. Should have gone higher. I kind of overestimated the thrust-to-weight ratio. I mean, the thrust to weight ratio during launch was really, really good, but as soon as the boosters died out, it quickly got to pretty much 0, which is not really cool. Okay, let's orient ourselves prograde and just wait till we escape the atmosphere. We'll make a second burn once we get into space. Okay, let's time warp a little bit here. And on we go with our circularization. I will put us a little lower because I don't want to go that high. Currently is saying that our apoapsis is 95 kilometers, which is a bit too high, to be honest. Especially since we don't really have a lot of shielding on this vehicle. But yeah, the fuel here is pretty... There's plenty of fuel, so we should be able to circularize fairly easily here. It's actually kind of hard to screw this up. And yep, here we are. Now what I want to do is just to correct our orbit a little bit. Primarily, I want to bring my apoapsis slightly higher. Or periapsis, rather. An apoapsis is actually lower, so it'll just kind of burn outside, which will lower our apoapsis, raise our periapsis, because our contract specifically states that our periapsis has to be above 75 kilometers. So we do need to keep that in mind. Okay, great. Now that we're in orbit, I mean, we don't really have to do anything with this particular vehicle. We can just go ahead and launch another one, and then rendezvous them. Judging by just how much we got from that first launch, in terms of, like, spare Delta V, this is gonna be really easy. Although I do want to accept another contract, because we don't really have the money to launch this one for now. Which is a bit annoying. We do have a bunch of these missions to test some parts. And they're fairly feasible, so we can just accept some of them. You know what? We have this, like, test some engine on an escape trajectory. That's easy, we can definitely do that. Although this is pretty heavy, I just want to select something that's going to be easy to actually accomplish later, because it's going to be expensive to decline them later. So let's say something like this. Although it is an escape trajectory of MUN, so read the contract description carefully. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to time warp a little bit in this map view, because I want to launch my vehicle when the first space bus is going to be roughly above us, so that it'll be easier for us to rendezvous it. Okay, yeah, that looks good enough. Maybe just a little more. Okay, alright, let's launch it. And I'll also bring a scientist with me, because I want to level up my crew. And this is a great chance of just going to orbit to level up the crew, especially like Bob, Bill. Definitely want to level up those guys. Specifically Bob, because he's a scientist and he will be very useful when we go to Minmus, because he'll increase the science yield if he already has some level to him. And with that out of the way, yeah, let's go launch our space bus. Pretty much the same configuration, just different pilots. Okay, start the engines, everything's running fine. Let's take a slightly higher sun profile this time, because I was not in the mood for losing a lot of Delta V due to atmospheric drag. That was not fun. Funnily enough, the vehicle here is barely aerodynamically stable. Like, if I disable the SAS, it, like, barely wants to rotate. Which is kind of worrisome a little bit. Not too bad, but still. Okay, stager boosters here, they blow up behind us. Fairly standard procedure. NASA does that all the time, I assure you. Okay, now we'll just start to going a little bit more horizontal. Let's set the other space bus as the target. And hopefully we will be able to intercept it just as we go up. It is at a rather high orbit, so in case we lag behind it, we can go into higher orbit. In case we are going too fast, we can catch up to it by going in a lower orbit. So it should be pretty easy to intercept it. Right now I'm just worrying about getting close to it. That's all I want. And then we'll be able to dock them in orbit, make our first docking procedure ever. This is the cockpit, by the way. Looks pretty cool. I know. We will be able to fly within cockpits. Maybe some future missions. I don't know. Subscribe to see that. But for now, I just want to have some easy time. Oh, by the way, I didn't talk about this, but in case you're watching this, you might want to subscribe to the Discord channel, which is in the description, somewhere there, down below. Okay, here we go. Here's our intercept. Now, we do want to bring it close-ish. We'll probably intercept it at a second point. Right here, we'll just bring the intercept point close enough to within like several kilometers, and once we're there, we'll just retroburn to align ourselves and just kind of stop relative to the spacecraft. Alright, now do we have the ability to... Yes, we do have the ability to add maneuvers, so I'll just add a maneuver here. Can we delete this one? Can you go away? Thank you. Just wanna... Damn it! Maneuver controls are annoying in KSP a little bit. Okay, I just want to align us. Okay, so right now the intercept is 4.1 kilometers. And we do need to burn a little bit up to normal, or maybe actually... No, yeah, we have to do some burn in the normal direction. Okay, let's get there, and we'll just make a tiny correction just so that we end up a little closer. Just a little closer. Okay. Let's make this short burn. We do not have a lot of ignitions on these engines, so that's something to keep in mind. Actually, you know what? I should have upgraded them. Luckily, though, we do have RCS, so we can always get from orbit by using that, in case we get stuck. Okay, and let's retro burn here. Just make a little burn here to reduce our relative velocity. Although we did overshoot a little bit. That's annoying. Okay. Gonna align ourselves towards it. And make another burn here shortly. But I think we have already completed the contract. I'm pretty sure about that. Yeah, we have already rendezvoused them, because as soon as you're within like 2 kilometers, I think, it's already completed. in terms of the contract. But I do want to stop them relative to each other. Or if I can't stop them, at least bring them close enough. Okay, I'll stop most of the relative velocity with the engines, and then I'll use the RCS for the rest of it. Okay, let's time warp here a little bit. The problem is that the bus is pretty damn heavy. It is a bus after all. So we do want to be careful about using RCS. It's not very efficient. Okay. Just gotta rotate here. And bring them to a halt. Now we'll have to go back to the Space Inter, and then we'll have to accept the contract to dock them, because I want money. The goal is to perform this maneuver. Okay, let's stop it right here. We'll just park it right next to it. Just like that. Okay, and now I can actually, you know what, let's use MagChap. Can I please move this window? I know there's a way to do that. Okay, look at that. Okay, I will use the Smart RCS, and I will set the Smart RCS to 0 relative velocity, just to make sure that no one's going anywhere. And off we go to Space Center. Now, let's go ahead and accept the contract to dock them, which is hopefully waiting for us. It's gonna be annoying if it's not, because that sometimes does happen. And yeah, it's a different contract. It's a contract to dock 2 vessels on or around the Mon, and not Kerbin. Because you have to, like, if you normally progress through this, you kind of dock 2 vehicles before you go to Mon. But it's actually harder because we don't have the technology to research the docking ports, because we're playing in hard mode. So it actually gave us the contract to dock them around Mon, which is a little annoying. But we can still dock them, I think. Or should we not? Should we wait? Maybe we'll have a contract to dock them later. I mean, we have rendezvoused them, so we can just get them back from orbit. Especially the tourist guy. Yeah, you know what? Let's not dock them for now. There's really not much point in doing so. The question is, how much resources do they have? Oh, they're food limited. Yeah, they don't have a lot of food. Because who thought food is going to be required on this mission? Nobody did. Okay, you know what? Let's bring both of them from orbit. Especially Valentina and Bob. They will level up, so it's not gonna be completely wasted mission. Just slightly annoying. Okay. Let's bring our periapsis down low. And off we go. Time warping. Okay. Now the question is, can we land somewhere in the ocean? I really want to land in the ocean, because even though we do have landing legs, even though we can perform powered burn, I'm really not in the mood of topping over. Although the thrust to weight ratio is really high, so we probably can correct our course if we're not going where we want to. That's gonna be an option, potentially. I present to you Sunrise in orbit. Damn, I love sunrises in orbit. When we will start working on space stations, we'll have a lot more of those. And it's rotating, damn it. Okay, gotta stop the rotation here. Okay, because I do want to go in this direction. Actually, you know what? Our legs are slightly overheating. So I'm just gonna make a short burn here. Retro burn a little bit, just to reduce our velocity. Make this slightly more safe. Okay. And now I do want to be extremely careful with the landing procedure, because if this vehicle rotates 180, it does not have the safety features to realign itself. Actually, you know what? I should have definitely put another ring here to separate itself, just in case something goes really wrong. Because it's better to lose the rest of the spacecraft than lose all of it. Okay. It is trying to rotate itself, which is pretty annoying. I constantly have to correct it, which is why I'm not talking a lot. Because it's really, really hard, because it's just trying to topple over. Because, yeah. It's really hard to control it. Especially because I don't have the Valentina, I only have, like, stability assist. I don't even have, like, just retro. And it's toppling over, damn it! And one of the engines failed. Absolutely stellar. Although this will allow me to... Actually, this is a really good way to reposition itself. Because I can just use one of the engines to just rotate it. That's a weird way to do it, though. Although it is pretty light. All of these fuel tanks do generate quite a lot of drag. Oh, look at that. It actually is aerodynamically stable in the weirdest way possible. Alright, one of the engines failed, but that's not going to be a problem. I was just worried that it's going to rotate 180 and just perfectly go down like this. It actually didn't do that, for the most part. It actually did the opposite thing, where it just kind of wobbled on its side, which is weird. I didn't think it's going to be aerodynamically stable in that configuration. I thought it's just going to flip. Luckily it didn't. Yeah, not the best design. But it is reasonable for the mission that we had. We'll definitely have to upgrade it. Hopefully, though, we will be able to return most of the funds for it. And look at that. Our surface speed is 6 point something meters, which is good enough. This could, especially with the landing legs, this could definitely land on terrain, except that it should have been pretty damn solid terrain in terms of flatness. Alright, and it toppled over, which is to be expected, especially with one failed engine, but it doesn't matter. We can recover it. That's good enough. Alright, let's get Jebediah and the tourist back from orbit. I think they should be ready now for that. But I do want to see how much money we have recovered. Was all of it worth it? How much did we recover? We recovered only 4,000. I mean, yeah, that is not very good. The Thud liquid fuel engine got us only half of it. Yeah, look at that. We have only recovered 26% because it is pretty far from KSC. Which means the recovery is not very efficient. So maybe it's not worth it. Maybe we should just not bother with trying to make it easier to return, because it just doesn't really matter. Question is, do I want to accept this contract or should I wait for a different one? Not entirely sure. Let's wait for now. We'll see how much money we get, because money is pretty damn expensive. Okay, can we actually land the second space bus near the Kerbal Space Center? The answer is probably yes, but we'll have to land during nighttime, which is bad for you guys, because you probably won't see much. Actually don't know how well is it on the other side of the stream, in terms of when I tried landing during nighttime. I don't know, tell me in the comments. Maybe I can boost the lighting a little bit, if that's what you want. Okay, let's get ourselves from orbit. I will use the RCS now, primarily because I don't want to turn the engines now, because they don't have a lot of cycles. I want to fire them up slightly later. So for now, I'm just going to use the monoprop to just kind of bring us into a bit of a descent. Like I said, the advantage of this vehicle is that we do have a lot of RCS fuel, so we can just use all of it to get from orbit, which is definitely nice. Look at that, we can actually enable trajectories now. I totally forgot that I have this mod. We can actually set where we want to land. And I want to land near KSC, but like not too close to it, because there's land. I want to overshoot a little bit. That's the goal. Okay, let's time warp to landing. And set our SAS to retrograde. And we'll just kind of time warp from here. Like we found out, this vehicle doesn't really have a tendency to topple over. Well, it does have a tendency to topple over, it's just that once it doesn't rotate all of the way, it just kind of starts wobbling on its side, weirdly. Which means that it can time warp, probably. Nothing bad will ever happen. That's the motto. Alright. Actually, you know what? We're overshooting quite significantly. I might want to retro burn here a little bit, bring our velocity down while we still can. Because again, I want to overshoot over KC because I want to land in the ocean, but probably not that far away. Because the closer we land to KC, the more money we will recover, and that is definitely a concern for us right now. So we'll just burn all of our fuel here, just to make sure that we will recover more by landing closer to KC. Yeah, that looks good enough. Okay, let's time warp from here. Actually, you know what? We can probably wobble it specifically with this. And hopefully it'll be able to slow down faster like this. Yeah, that is what I was worried about, that there's a decent chance that it might topple over and be stable in this configuration. The difference in this time is that, well, it doesn't, even when it topples over, it doesn't really stay that way, so you can kind of slow it down, especially with the high drag that it has. So that's not really an issue, I guess. Okay, another sunset this time. Not really in orbit, but still beautiful. I really like the visuals. I'm gonna turn everything off. Just allow you to enjoy the moment here a little bit. I will be time warping the descent though. But while it is descending, you can enjoy the view. Hopefully it's a nice one. I wonder if they can see it from cockpits. Not really. And that is kind of it. Let's enable everything back again. And here we go. We have... the Eagle has landed. Okay. Oh my god. It actually toppled over and got screwed up a little bit, but we should still be able to recover both parts of it. Just kind of broke apart a little bit. Slightly unfortunate, but not that big of an issue. Okay, this time we have recovered 97%. So this vehicle, the upper part alone got us 6,000. And if we recover that thing, we'll also get even more of it. So actually, if you can land it near the Kerbal Space Center, yeah, the idea of having more stuff to recover is definitely beneficial. You know what? I'm not gonna accept this contract yet. Although, yeah, I don't really want to accept this contract for now. The reason being that docking vehicles near Mun is pretty annoying because you kind of have to send two things there. It's just kind of hard. So let's try to time warp here. A little bit. We'll time warp through a couple of days. And hopefully this contract will be gone. And we'll get a new contract. And this one is much more exciting because it's a flyby of Minmus. By the way, I'm sorry if that time warping was a little annoying. Yeah, the flyby of Minmus is definitely much more exciting because we definitely do want to go to Minmus as it's very, very cost efficient. And it'll give us a lot of money, especially because we do want to upgrade Research and Development Center. It costs absolutely insanely stupid amount of money, but we really want that because it'll allow us to transfer fuel, and that is definitely something that we want. For this reason, we really want to accept these missions towards Minmus because they will give us a lot of money. And I mean, we can also take a bunch of these small contracts about like returning some science data from space around Kerbin. Sure, whatever, why not? With that out of the way, by the way, why didn't we get this contract completed? That's weird. I mean, we have recovered her. That's weird. Does anyone know what happened? I'm pretty sure this is a bug, because... Oh, maybe the duration was wrong. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna select it, because the duration is obviously artificial. We could have made another loop. Just gonna correct it, because it is a bit annoying. Yeah, complete that one. Yeah, because I thought we had not a lot of money, and I was like, why do we not have a lot of money? And the answer is because, well, the contract didn't get accepted for some reason. Okay, you know what? Let's upgrade the astronaut complex right now. Oh, wait, we can't do that. I really want to do that, but we can't. The reason being that if we do upgrade it, we won't have money to go to Minmus. And that is definitely going to be our next mission, is going to Minmus. Yeah, that's our plan for the next time. For today, though, I think this is enough. This was a bit of a weird stream, especially because it's Friday this time. I guess that is why. It's Friday the 13th. Yeah, that's probably the reason why it sucked. Although I hope that you still enjoyed it. There were a few reasonably interesting moments. And I'll see you next time with the Minmus mission. Until then, bye-bye.